obviously for good reasons. Welcome to your new house. So for those of you that don't follow me on Instagram, just to let you guys know that we did actually buy this house, which is very exciting for us. Don't mind me if I'm like rambling on back and forth. I didn't really plan to film a video today because there's so much going on, but I figured I would take a couple minutes to update everybody on what's been happening and that we're kind of settling into a new place. So to backtrack a little bit, because I know most of you are gonna be like, what? You bought a house? So as most of you know, I think that our landlord wanted to move into the place himself, like our old place, by August 1st, that long weekend for us or whatever. So we started looking for places quite a while ago. We actually already started looking into purchasing last year, but really couldn't, just because of financial reasons and all that stuff. So in the spring, like around Christmas, we were already kind of toying with the idea of possibly purchasing. We came across a house that went up for sale in a little town that we actually kind of liked, and the house seemed really nice. It was just like we literally, as soon as we saw the pictures, we fell in love with it. We were thinking about what we could do to it, like what we could like really picture ourselves living there. So with that, the whole we would like to purchase a house kind of got more real, and so we tried to finance it, and like we tried to get a pre-approval for it anyway, but we couldn't get as much pre-approved for as we had hoped for in order to purchase that home, which at that point was a lot less than what we bought this place for. But anyway, so that didn't happen, so we just kind of let it go and tried to find a place to rent, and it came to the point where we were like 2 months away from having to move out, and we still hadn't found anything to rent because the rental market out here really sucks right now, let alone if you're trying to find something to keep your horses. So at some point we were obviously facing having to move in with my parents until we find something, and having to get rid of our horses essentially, which is obviously not what we ever want. So the funny thing was, I was getting my hair done at my friend's, and she mentioned this amazing mortgage broker that a bunch of her friends have already used, and so she said just try it and see if she can get you the house, because at that point the house that we first looked at, or not looked at but like found online, was still in our minds obviously. So when we started thinking about it, we actually looked up the house again, and it was actually sold, which didn't surprise us because for the price of it, it was like super cheap. It was a nice house, and it was literally just priced to sell. So we weren't too shocked that it was gone, but it was upsetting. So we said, let's just try and get pre-approved for something anyway and start looking at houses. So I messaged my realtor friend. She actually set me up for like those automatic email updates. So whenever something popped up that matches our criteria, it would be sent to us so we could look at it and decide if we wanted to view it or not. So the first day that she set me up for it, I obviously got a bunch of houses that were up for sale currently that would match, and we just kind of went through them all going like, yes, maybe, okay, we want to look at it kind of thing. Like you can, on the online thing, whatever, like you can click like reject, possible, or favorites. So we went through that, and it was a fairly easy process because either the house needed like too much work, or the house needed work and the outside needed work, or they were just way too far away for us. Like we don't want to drive 2 hours in order just to have a house, because then really we can't afford anything. And the hours, like a day only has so many hours, right? So you don't want to be driving back and forth that long. So when we went through that list, we found the most perfect house that we could ever think of. It was in a neighborhood that we really, really wanted to be in again. It was 20 acres, so huge, so much potential. It was mostly open field too, so at some point we even could have like built a new house and rented out the one that was on there already. We could have fenced so much for our horses, like there was so much potential. The house that was on there, like we just loved at that point anyway, and it was fairly small, but it was brand new renovated, so there was no work that needed to be done on the inside. It was just put up a fence and be done with it. And that is something that we really like because we know how to put up a fence. We don't really know how to fix things in a house. So yeah, it was, and price wise it was fairly nice too. Like we the house was already up for sale last year supposedly, and in that 1 year they went, like it was on and off the market a while, and the guy that listed it was actually the realtor too. So anyway, so our pre-approval process took a little bit longer, longer than we initiated anyway, or longer than we were hoping for. So by the time we got our pre-approval, I messaged my realtor and I was like, hey, we have the pre-approval, let's look at the place so we know what it looks like and that we can put an offer in. She contacted the selling realtor and he said there is an offer in, but he didn't think that their financing would go through because it was such a big rural property, and the bank they were trying to get it through doesn't really like rural properties. So he encouraged us to look at it because he really didn't think that they would get it. So obviously our hopes were really high. We looked at the place and we looked at another one because it was kind of fun to look at houses and it could have been an option possibly. And so we did that. We looked at it and we loved it. It was beautiful. Like I said, so much potential. We looked at the other place and just went straight back to the one that we loved initially anyway. And so we put in a backup offer. Now we put in a backup offer on a Sunday, I believe, and it was like we went back and forth on pricing and it got accepted as a backup offer, and they had until the 25th, I believe, of June to finalize their financing. So it was a week of every day waiting to hear whether or not they would get it. But with every day that we didn't hear from them, it looked like they wouldn't get their financing done, because we assumed if you get your financing, you would let people know so they can move on, right? Well, Saturday rolled around, and like the 25th, and then it was when my friend Nina arrived too. So we were getting ready to like get her from the airport, and obviously we're waiting on an answer. And we were like, hey, so if we don't have an answer by Friday night, we should have it, because there's no banks open on a Saturday to approve anything. So I messaged my realtor on the Saturday, and I was like, so what's going on? Is it our place? Like, we haven't heard anything. And she's like, yeah, she hasn't heard anything yet either. She'll contact their selling realtor. And then she called me, which was weird because usually we just text back and forth, and she called me and she's like, yeah, they got their financing done, it's gone, like it's sold. And we were like, oh my god. So that day was very hard, and like I was crying, and it was just devastating because we really wanted that place. We fell in love with it. We knew there wasn't anything else on the market that we loved or that would even be an option, and we like it was such a hard weekend because we kept going back and forth of, do we settle for something else that we don't love? Do we just move in with my parents and hope something else pops up? Like, it was such a hard time. Like, oh my gosh, like if I went into all the detail of what it took to get this place, like that would be like a 2-hour video on its own. So anyway, my friend came, and so we were obviously kind of devastated that evening. So we knew in the budget, like the price range that we had given her, there wasn't anything else to look at. So we upped it a little bit just to see what would be out there if we were to pay more. Now, there were a couple places that would be kind of okay, but obviously more money, so they better be nice, right? So what ended up happening is, like, my friend came this Saturday, so for Sunday we had viewings scheduled like all day long. I think we looked at like 6 houses that day because we were under time pressure. Like, we had to be out of our other place by like August 1st, and being out of there by August 1st, like with the financing having to be finalized with the lawyers, with everything, like you're looking at 3 to 4 weeks just to do all of that. So we were running out of time quick. So we looked at a couple places, like beautiful homes, but the land was nice, or the land was nice and the house was kind of bad. And one we really liked too, but it was at the higher end of our price range. Like, the house was so beautiful and like just huge, and just, I don't know, it was really amazing. But the outside was kind of the same land amount that we have right now, but way more trees. Like, it was legitimately like in a freaking wooded area, like just bushes everywhere. And being at the higher end of our price range and having to put up a fence and having to rip out trees in order to be able to put them somewhere just wasn't feasible for us. Like, we just couldn't afford it, quite frankly. So yeah, we looked at 5 houses and we were just kind of like losing hope. And the last one was on the way back to the city. Like, all of the other ones were further out, probably 45 minute to an hour drive, which isn't horrible if you want to live in the country, but still. So there was one place left, and I remember I looked at this place last year already when we were kind of toying with the idea of buying something, and I thought it was beautiful on the pictures, but then it went off of like the market, so I thought it sold, but it turned out that the people just like, it didn't sell as quick as they wanted to, so they had to take it off the market, and they just had to move back into it for a little bit, and now it was back on the market. Now, when we pulled up, like the houses we looked at so far were usually just like on a road, like open field kind of thing, and this one is pretty close. Like, there is a little town right next to us, which is right now like really nice, because if we ever do have kids, like there's a school, like, I'm not even kidding, like 2 minutes from here, like just around the corner. It just like, there's like, I don't know, everything that you kind of need. Well, not everything, there's not like any grocery stores or anything, but school wise, and it's kind of like a cul-de-sac-ish area. Like I see neighbors' houses and stuff, but there's trees everywhere separating us, which is nice because you're in the country, but you still have neighbors, so you don't need to freak out. And like I said, if we ever do have kids, it'll be nice for them to be able to like play on a street that's not busy and have like neighbors around, hopefully, that have some kids as well. So yeah, when we pulled up, we were kind of like, oh, like neighbors, like that's not us. We don't want to live in like a city feel. We want to be like out in the open and have our peace and quiet. So in the pictures, it looked like the land that it had, like comes with the house, was all in the front. So when we drove up, we looked at the front and we're like, well, we could fence it, but that's not a lot of room for them, and I don't know if that's great for long term for them to be cooped up in a small little pen. So we kind of just walked past the house and looked at the backyard if there was anything in the back, and all of a sudden we noticed like it's a beautiful tree area around, and at the other end, like this way, there was a little gate. So we walked all the way up there and we opened the gate, and there's this huge field back there that nobody knew about. And we were like, oh my gosh, is this part of the house? Because if it is, like it was already pretty much fenced, like it needed a little bit of work, but it was like pretty much done. So our realtor called this selling realtor and was like, so does that backfield belong to the house? And he was like, yep, that's included. And we were like, oh my gosh. So we were like, fingers crossed, please let this house be kind of decent. Like, we don't want to have to do all of this work. So we walked into the house and it was like, it's so nice, like huge living room, fireplace, like kitchen, obviously, huge dining room, huge windows, like the view, no matter which way you look, is so beautiful. We have 3 bedrooms, like it's like a bungalow, so we don't have an upstairs, but we have 3 bedrooms, like our master bedroom. We have my little office / filming area, and then we have another, which is right now like storage, and it'll be a guest room for now until obviously one day it'll hopefully be a baby's room. Sorry, I keep shaking the table and you guys look like you're gonna fall off. So yeah, that's what we have. And we have a huge bathroom with like a soaker tub and a shower and like a huge sink and toilet and all that stuff. And then we also have like our upstairs is 1,500 square foot. Like that's how big it is. Like you get lost in here pretty much because you can yell down the hallway and you still don't hear it all the way in the end. Now if you go down the stairs, it's like our laundry and stuff, and then it's pretty much the same size that we have up here in the basement. So the plan at some point is maybe to finish up the basement to make like a family room down there or something like that, because there's so much space. Like it would be a waste not to put anything down there, even like a second bathroom and stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of rambling on. What else is there to tell about this? So we moved in here. We got the keys last week, Wednesday the 20th. On Thursday, we spent all day here pounding posts in to fix up some of the fencing, and our TV, internet, all that stuff got hooked up. On Friday, we were out all day putting out the boards across to make the fence more like stabilized. And Friday night we picked up our moving van and we loaded half of it up. Saturday morning we got up really early and loaded up the rest and then brought it all here. And then Saturday evening we picked up the horse trailer, and then Sunday we moved our horses and a couple of the small things that were left in the house. So yeah, yesterday we were driving around like we had like a date at Home Depot pretty much. I picked out my office paint, we picked out some living room paint because the people that lived here before, their couch scraped up the wall. Otherwise I wouldn't have painted because I don't mind this brownish color. What else? Just small things, like we put in a new kitchen faucet. Yeah, I don't know, there's just, it's so overwhelming in a way to actually own a place now, but it is so nice to do work and you know you're doing it for yourself, not for somebody else, and it's so nice. So that's kind of where we're at in regards to where we're moving, and that alone probably took like 15 minutes to talk about. As far as TTCing, I know, sorry, I'm like trying to check my schedule here and I'm shaking the table, I'm sorry. Okay, so the last video I did, I know I said that I don't want to come on here and say that it was cycle day 1. But I'm sorry to say that cycle day 1 did come shortly after. Today's cycle day 11 for me. So cycle day 1 was on Saturday the 16th. So just before we got our keys. And I think I filmed the video like what, Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. And then she came. Which like honestly I wasn't upset about. Actually I was kind of happy that she was on time again and it didn't take like 50 days again for her to come. And with everything going on right now, I'm glad I didn't end up pregnant because we had a couple people lined up to help us move, and I don't know if anybody else ever experiences this, but whenever they say they come to help you move, they never show up and you end up having to do it all by yourself. My dad came like Saturday morning to help us a little bit because he came into town after work. Gladly, because I wouldn't have been able to do this. I'm so sore. Matt's so sore and I feel bad because he's back to work. But yeah, I don't know, I have so much back pain going on and my knee hurts, and it's just, it was a hard week, and it like, oh, it's just, and it never ends because now you need to clean, now you need to unpack, and it's really hard. But it's nice to be able to actually go to bed at a decent time now, and well, Matt still gets up early, but still, because the last week I think we went to bed at like 10 or 11 at night. Well, some nights were even like 1 in the morning, and then our alarm went off at like 4 a.m. to get things done. It was so hard, but it's worth it to be out of here, and every time I look out the window or at my house, I can't help but smile. Now, for those of you that do follow me on Instagram and have seen posts in regards to the house, I know that you've asked for a house tour. I do plan to make one if enough people actually want to watch it, because my last one, it was like 2 people that actually enjoyed it. So I don't know, we'll see. But I do plan to paint my office / filming area this week as well, so hopefully that'll be all set up soon so I can actually film in there. So yeah, with all of that going on, I am kind of happy that cycle day 1 arrived, because there's no way we could have done all of this if I was pregnant and couldn't have like handled any of it, because there's no way if I would have seen 2 lines that I would have carried any of the stuff that I carried, that I worked so hard. Like, I was so pale all this weekend, I was so exhausted. I still am very exhausted and everything still hurts. But I'm getting to a point where I'm back, like, starting to feel a little bit more like myself and not so like lightheaded and just like, ugh. Like I felt like a zombie all weekend. So I think there's always a good reason behind things too, and this time I have to say I'm glad that it didn't work out that cycle, because we would still be stuck in the other place and it would just be horrible. So anyway, sorry to say cycle day 1 came, but on to the next cycle. And it actually feels kind of nice having a new cycle in a new house. Yesterday when we went and picked up just a few little things that were left in the house, we kind of like walked through the house to make sure everything was out of there, we didn't forget anything. And just looking around, you get so, like, I've gotten emotional with pretty much every place we've left so far, just because there's obviously so many memories, but yeah, I don't know. I zoned out yesterday in the house and I couldn't move, and Matt was like, is everything okay? Are you okay? And I just started crying so much, and just thinking about it again, I'm like it took us so long to get pregnant, and we did, and I lost both of the babies in that house. And as harsh as this sounds, like, because when I said it, I was like, that sounded kind of awful. But if you think about it, like, both of those babies went down the toilet in that house. And the fact that I don't have that anymore to be like, I don't know, it's kind of like, it seems like the world's shittiest spot, legitimately, to be like mourning someone's death, or losing a baby. But it's just, that's kind of what it was to me, I think, was not the peace of knowing that they were there, because they're obviously not there anymore. But I don't know, I hope you guys know what I mean. Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way, because obviously they're my babies, but it was just hard to let go of all of that, because that's where in that bathroom, that's where I seen the two lines twice. In that bathroom where I lost them both twice. So I don't know, it was really hard to get out of there, but it's also nice to be in a new house and start fresh, and hopefully not have to deal with any of the bad memories anymore, and to not make any more bad memories is obviously the goal. But I'm blabbing on, and this video is going to be long. I still need to edit, and our internet connection has been awful, so I hope this will be up today, because I have to have somebody come out and fix it. Anyway, so welcome to the new house, and let me know what you guys want to know, what you guys want to see, and I'll talk to you guys really soon. Bye, guys. So when I picked it up and stuff, I was like, I thought I saw something, maybe, not really, so I laid it down, and I would check it again like 5 minutes later, and it would be like gone, like completely dried white.